Today's episode of the Bitcoin Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and Thank You Economy Book and MemoryDealers.com. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Bitcoin Show. I'm Bruce Wagner and today we have a really exciting day actually. It's even more exciting, I know I say that every day, but it's even more exciting than normal because we have some of that new state-of-the-art cutting-edge Bitcoin software to talk about that is now available. What I've been saying is going to be available, I said within the next year, within the next 6 months, within the next 3 months. And now the first generation of it is really here today. So today we're going to talk about new software called SafeBit. And my guests are Stefan Thomas and Eli Sklar, developers and founders of SafeBit. Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Hey. Good, good. So Stefan's joining us from Switzerland. And Eli, where are you?
I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel.
From Tel Aviv. Okay, that's right, Israel. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So we're very global, as always. And so tell us, okay, let's start from the beginning. For those of you in the audience and me who don't know what's going on, SafeBit is a free open source software project, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And who did the development, most of the development, or did you share that equally or what?
I started developing it almost 6 months ago, but now I'm starting to gather more developers around me and getting some investment in the project.
Okay. And Stefan, did you develop the server side of it?
Exactly. So I was working on Bitcoin Jazz for about the same amount of time, and we realized that Eli has a really amazing GUI, and I have a server, and so we started talking to each other a couple of weeks ago. And now we're ready to make it official that I'm going to be consulting with Eli and helping them, integrate their client with our server.
Awesome. All right, cool. So it's like a marriage made in heaven when you guys discovered the two pieces. I mean, when you started, obviously, Stefan, you started the server side of it prior. Is that right?
I would say around the same time.
About the same time?
What do you think, Eli?
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Eli, did you have Stefan's server side model in mind when you started?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
When you started your client, did you already have Stefan's server side in mind? I mean, was this developed synchronously, or did you not know where it was going to go?
No, actually, when I started with the official Bitcoin client, and then I met Stefan a couple of months later, and we started chatting and realized that would be a great partnership together.
Oh, okay. So then when you met Stefan and you decided to develop for his server, then did you have to kind of start over a bit, or at least some of the under the hood mechanics to make it compatible with Stefan's server side?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us what now the entire project on both sides is free open source software, is that correct?
Yep.
It is. That's awesome. All right. And now what are the key features and benefits of SafeBit as opposed to the standard Bitcoin client?
Well, let me start there. So obviously with our server you don't need to download the blockchain up front, right? So you can pretty much start the client and you can get going right away. Now, one thing that I want to make absolutely clear to your viewers is that we're just announcing the cooperation right now. So right now the client that you can download and try out still relies on the original client. So we're now starting to move everything over so it actually integrates with my server, and then you will get all of these features over the next couple of months rolling out.
Yep.
Okay, so the software that they would download, you're saying it relies on the standard Bitcoin client right now?
Right.
For now, yeah.
So, is there so there isn't a server-side aspect to it yet? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
In the current
so
version.
what you can do is you can download it, and if you're running the original client already, you can integrate it with the RPC API, and you can try it out, and you can see the interface, which looks really amazing, and Eli has done an amazing job, and that's part of the reason why I was so excited to work with him, because I think our server is pretty good, but we don't have a good GUI for it. We don't have a good user interface, and I personally have absolutely no talent in writing user interfaces. So I think this is where we can really work well together, and I'm hoping that in a couple months we can integrate the code that I've written and that Eli's written, and we can put them together, and I think the result will be pretty good. One of the things that fits very well is that both our software is written in JavaScript. So Eli's written everything in JavaScript, I've written everything in JavaScript, so we have absolutely no compatibility issues to bridge. We can just literally take my code, put it in, flip some switches, and it should work.
That's great. How did you guys meet? How did you two meet?
Actually, through the Bitcoin talk, I think. Someone just threw me a word about Bitcoin JS. I started looking at it, and then I think Stefan sent me an email, and from that we've done a small Skype talk, and started rolling from there.
It's amazing how people can meet through the internet, and then they can actually start collaborating, and then they can work day to day through the internet. Have you ever met physically, face to face?
Not yet.
Oh my gosh! At the next Bitcoin conference, we'll have to do that for sure. We're gonna be working on scheduling that, maybe the same time, like New York in August or something like that again. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So now so the client, which is SafeBit, right? Is that will it run on any platform? Windows, Mac, Linux?
It's supposed to run on any platform, be it desktop, Linux, Mac, or Windows, or iPhone, or any smartphone, Android, iPad, or eventually even Google TV and Apple TV and stuff like that. Basically anything that supports HTML5.
So what you're saying, SafeBit is a web app.
Right.
Okay.
But
what?
It's not just a web app. It's, with Stefan's Bitcoin JS, it has a lot more capabilities than just a regular Bitcoin wallet or hosted wallet. We're doing something different in terms of a hosted wallet. We're providing some different features on that.
Yep.
Okay, so all right, now I'm seeing it. If you flip over to my screen there, and you can see, okay, this is in the Google Chrome store. You go chrome.google.com/web store. Chrome.google.com/web store, and I think I searched for Bitcoin, and I found it SafeBit. So it says 5 stars, 7 ratings. It's under productivity, and here are some screenshots that you can see. All right, so let's see, what is that? The various different screenshots that show you transactions, some graphics, bar charts, send coins, receive coins, buy and sell. You can actually buy and sell too. Does it integrate to exchange sites, or is that a feature coming?
No. Currently, what you see there is basically mock-up. The current application has send and receive Bitcoin. We're still negotiating, looking for a partner to buy and sell Bitcoins directly from SafeBit. We're already partnered with Bitcoin in Israel, but we're still searching for that in the global arena.
Okay, I see in the screenshots you've got Mt. Gox buy Bitcoins. That's an example, I guess. And then you've got receive funds.
We're not affiliated with not with Mt. Gox and not with Amazon.
Right. Okay. So the functionality of buy and sell Bitcoins is not there yet, but send and receive Bitcoins is. All right. So what this is, let me make sure I understand. So this is it's a web app that you buy. What is it, free in the Chrome web store?
Yeah,
right?
It's free. You don't buy it. SafeBit is free, and it's gonna stay free.
But you can use it once you install it through the Chrome web store, which is just a distribution channel, I guess, right? And you're not really installing it. I guess you're just kind of setting up an account to use it. Is that right?
Right.
It doesn't actually install code on your device, on your computer or your phone?
Yes, it does.
Well,
It pre-caches it, so it starts up more quickly, and it's integrated with Chrome, and so you get a nice icon where you can start it right from the Chrome front page.
Okay. So any device that can run a Chrome browser, then you can use this in. Now, what about Android? Will it work
For
with that?
Android, we're talking on a local application. Probably it's going to be web application with some kind of tied in somehow to the platform. But for now, it's not supported on mobile devices.
For now, it's not supported on mobile devices yet. So
yeah, it's probably a good idea to explain. I mean, the basic platform that we're using is JavaScript and HTML based, and the nice thing about that is that almost any platform, including mobile devices and smartphones, can run that.
Right.
So basically, once you've got your code running on one platform, you don't have to rewrite the whole thing again in Java and then in Objective-C for iPhone and so on, but rather you write it once, and then you change the UI based on the form factor, and then you're able to deploy it to all of these mobile devices. So whereas I don't see anyone working on a BlackBerry app, for example, right now, or a WebOS app, all of these devices run HTML5. So once we have sort of one interface for the desktop and one interface that works on the mobile form factor, we can pretty much deploy it very easily to all of these different devices. And again, what I really like about what SafeBit's done so far is just the beautiful UI, and I'm hoping that together we can put in all the engine and all the back-end stuff that makes it works well, and all the features that you see in the mock-ups actually implemented, and that's why I'm excited about it, and that's what I wanted to share with you.
Okay. So yeah, the beautiful UI, and the way it's developed is the completely universal cross-platform plan. So once it's all fine-tuned, it'll just automatically roll out on basically every platform. But that's not what excites me the most. What excites me the most is the back end of how the wallet is encrypted. So tell me about how the wallet is encrypted securely, where it's stored, and how it's backed up and things like that.
Okay, so we talked about this at length yesterday, and the way we're planning it is we want to implement several different versions or ways you can store and manage your wallet.
Right.
And so it goes from the basic wallet, which is stored on your device persistently, just like the original client, and it would be encrypted with your password if you want, or not. And you could use that for small amounts of Bitcoins where you don't want a lot of hassle and a lot of security overhead. And you can, of course, then go for the next step up. You want to back up your wallet as well, so you've got some kind of cloud storage, like your Google account, and your wallet just stored on there. Or you could store it encrypted. So there's a bunch of different options that you can actually go for with this model. And finally, of course, there's the latest stuff that Gavin and I are working on for the original client, and me through an algorithm for Bitcoin.js, is split keys, where you have multiple devices, such as a server and a client, and they sort of split the keys up, and you need the permission of both, and then there you can then implement all the security features that you used to from hosted wallets without actually having to trust the server. And finally, as a fourth option, there's obviously hosted wallets themselves. And I don't know if Eli is planning to provide that service himself, or if we're going to partner with someone else. But just based on the client, we want to just make it a flexible architecture where you can have all of these different wallet types all together, and then based on your use case, you can pick what you want and use your coins the way you want to. Okay, so now in the state right now, it says preview version. This is an alpha release. In its current state, how does it work? It actually stores the wallet. It encrypts the wallet from the beginning, right? And then is the wallet stored locally on the device?
No, it actually uses the official Bitcoin wallet. So whether you're downloading the new Bitcoin wallet that uses encryption, or you're downloading the old one that doesn't have built-in encryption, basically uses that. It connects to the official Bitcoin wallet or any other Bitcoin wallet that supports JSON RPC, and basically creates a GUI overlay on that. For now, it's just a nice UI on top of the original Bitcoin client, nothing more. It's just, again, it's a preview version.
Right.
It's not the final.
Okay.
There's still some work to do.
And the funny part is that what I have basically is I have all the libraries, the JavaScript, the signature stuff. I have the server, and I don't have a proper UI, right? So that's when Eli came to me and he's like, I saw the stuff that you're working on. It's kind of interesting, and I realized that we pretty much have like the two halves that you need to make a good client. And so hopefully,
sounds like a marriage made in heaven.
It was amazing. Basically, I don't know how Stefan did it, but what he did with Bitcoin JS is just amazing. The work that went in there, kudos to you.
Wow, amazing. Okay, perfect. And it sounds like you both had the two matching keys that just fit each other perfectly. So
we have a lot of respect for each other, and I think at least in Eli's case, it's definitely earned.
yeah, it sounds like it's mutual. Okay, so all right, now the ultimate plan is that it will have its own wallet, that it will be separate from the standard Bitcoin client wallet, right? And it will be always encrypted. And then the idea is that encrypted wallet will also be automatically stored and backed up, at least a copy of it on the server side. Is that right?
Right. So if you go with the absolute maximum security available, then you would have a split key setup. You would have part of your key on your device, part of your key on the server. The server would use an extra verification system, like sending you an SMS for whenever you want to do a transaction or something like that. And both types of keys, or both parts of the key, will be backed up separately. And so get a tremendous amount of security, far beyond what you would get even at a bank today. So this is really exciting. That's only possible with Bitcoin. And basically what we need for that is a new opcode that's being introduced in the Bitcoin network, and that's what Gavin's working on at the moment, which is called op-eval. And the plan right now is for that to land in the official client by February. Okay. So I don't know if that timescale will work out, because it sounds pretty tight. But if it is, then hopefully we're going to be ready in February to use it right when it comes out and when it launches on the network.
Right.
Okay. So now that's pretty technical, but see if I follow. The bottom line then is, once that's finished, once that's implemented, if I'm using SafeBit, right, on my laptop, and I drop my laptop in a lake, the split key thing is that, how will I be able to recover it? The thing is backed up on the server, but I have to have a backup of my password somewhere. Is that right?
Right. So you would have probably a paper backup, because that's, low tech is always the safest, as I found out. So I'm a big proponent of paper wallet backups, but you could have it backed up on a USB key or something like that. And if you dropped your laptop in the lake, it would be no problem. You'd just install on a new computer. You'd set up the client again, reauthorize it, reconnect to the server, and you'd be ready to go again. What's more interesting, though, is let's say somebody steals your laptop, right? And it's not just that your laptop is password protected or your wallet is encrypted or whatever. Even if they let's say they install a Trojan, they have complete control of your laptop, and they give it back to you, and they wait for you to enter your password so they can look it up. Even that wouldn't give them access to your money, because there's the extra channel where you get another verification, for example, via SMS. So even if your computer is completely hacked and completely owned and you can't trust it at all, your money is still safe, because the server does extra verification steps for these high security split key accounts.
So the server is doing two-factor authentication. That's what I was actually talking to Ed about on the way in today, where I was saying the one weakness is going to be what they really need is two-factor authentication, and that's exactly what you're talking about. So could it be, so you're talking about like the server could do SMS verification, things like that. Could you also implement something with like a physical, like a YubiKey, USB key, or some other kind of two-factor authentication? It's up to the server side, right?
Yes, of course. So whatever the server side wants to implement, they can. One of the things with the YubiKey is the YubiKey can't protect you from fake transaction information. So if your computer really is hacked and it says, you're going to send, 10 Bitcoins to your grandma, but in reality it's sending 2,000 Bitcoins to, some Russian scammer, then, the display has to be correct. So if the scammer is able to control your display, then a YubiKey won't do you any good. Whereas with the SMS verification, if you get an SMS back and you can read in the SMS what the transaction details are. So if it says in the SMS, 1,000 Bitcoins to a Russian scammer, then you just don't enter the verification code because you notice that the verification details are wrong.
Wow, they built.
We'll implement security features based on our testing, and we'll see basically what the users are wanting and what are the possibilities. One of those features are going to be the iron key that is extremely encrypted, extremely hard to hack discount key that you can use, and you can store SafeBit on it, and we can back it up. Even if you lost it, the next day you can get a new one with all your Bitcoin safe and secure.
Wow. Okay.
There was actually a talk just this weekend at the Prague conference by Clemens Kapp, who's a professor in Germany, and what they've done is they've developed an open source hardware device which includes a display and enough CPU power to actually do cryptography on it. So what you could do with that is you could actually have your keys stored on a hardware device. And of course it's very easy for clients to support that, so you can probably going to be able to use that with most clients. And obviously, again, we want to be one of the first to support that, so we definitely have an eye on that as well, where you have just a hardware authenticator, and then the hardware authenticator has a display that is very secure and you can trust it.
Wow. Okay. So if I install this app right now, if I install this version of SafeBit right now, and do I need to install the official client first? Or
Yes.
can if I install it now without the official client, will it create its own wallet?
No.
No, it just won't connect, and it will show you an empty screen. Basically, it will show you. It won't show you anything.
It won't show you anything. Okay. So right now you have to have the official client installed first, and then you can install SafeBit for the GUI. When is the next version going to be available that's going to have its own wallet and actually connect to the server?
Well, it's always hard to commit to deadlines, but I'll give those questions to you, Eli.
I said earlier, again, I don't want to commit to deadlines as well, but we're aiming to bring it SafeBit as soon as possible to the clients and to Bitcoin users. A lot of people are wanting to see this alive. I'm hoping that by the end of the first quarter of 2012, it will be out there, at least in a beta version.
By the end of the first quarter 2012. Okay.
And I want to add that the server side for Bitcoin Jazz is fairly stable. So you remember the New York conference, obviously.
Right.
And during the New York conference on Saturday, I actually started the first permanent Bitcoin Jazz exit node server at exit.truecoin.com. And that server has since then been running without any problems, without any crashes. I've updated it a few times, so I had to restart it, but other than that, it hasn't crashed on its own. It's just been running perfectly. So that was actually unexpected. So I didn't think that the first version was going to be this stable, but it looks that the Bitcoin Jazz server is pretty much ready to go. So I can focus fully on helping Eli include the client-side libraries that communicate with the server with the UI that he's built.
Great. So the current preview version, is it communicating with the server right now at all, or no?
No, the current version is just a UI preview. Okay, so it's just a preview of how the UI is going to look. Okay. But it's functional. So if you run the original client and you're a little bit technically inclined, you can probably get it to work.
Right.
We'll definitely come back on the show as soon as we have the final thing that works perfectly out of the box.
Yeah. Okay, this is exciting. So, all right, for those of you who are watching us live right now, you can actually send questions. If you have any questions for Eli or Stefan, send an SMS text message to US number +1 646 580 0099. You'll see it right there on the screen. Or send an email. You can do that. We'll get it instantly here, and we can ask them the questions to feedback@onlyoneTV.com. Feedback@onlyoneTV.com, all spelled out. All right. So let me take a break really quick and thank our sponsors who are bringing us to you every day. We're so appreciative of Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox, obviously, everyone knows the #1 Bitcoin exchange online. You can buy Bitcoins, sell Bitcoins, transact Bitcoin transactions. You can even use it as an e-wallet. There's so many things. Mt. Gox is the ones with the two-factor authentication of the YubiKey we were mentioning earlier. But they have been around the longest and obviously the most famous leader in Bitcoin exchanges online. So if you want to buy Bitcoins without leaving your home, just go to mtgox.com. We call it Mt. Gox, or mtgox.com. And they deal in more than 16 currencies. They have some major announcements coming up here. As you go to mtgox.com, you'll see a countdown timer. All kinds of great things happening there. And so we're very appreciative of Mt. Gox. And speaking of thank you economy book. Best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author Gary Vaynerchuk has his second book out called The Thank You Economy, which is all about social media, using these new technologies and social media like Twitter and Facebook and all that to increase your business and to bring your business back to the days of like your grandparents had, the customer service they had with the corner store. Everybody kind of knows intuitively, if you're in business or an entrepreneur or building a brand of any kind, that you can leverage social media to bring business to your enterprise. But I say 95% at least are doing it all wrong. And then people receive it as spam and they're annoyed and it's just all bad. So you don't want that. This is the Bible on how to do it right, so that you can, instead of just selling stuff, you can actually build relationships. And so anyway, check it out. It's thankyoueconomybook.com is where you can learn all about it. Thankyoueconomybook.com. And the book is called The Thank You Economy by Gary Vaynerchuk. And MemoryDealers.com. MemoryDealers.com, we call it Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus. He is the owner of MemoryDealers.com. They're famous. They have, besides being Bitcoin evangelists, they are one of the largest online retailers that accept Bitcoin, and they sell physical Bitcoin too. But their main business is they have the largest inventory, one of the largest inventories in the world of fiber optic networking devices, switches, routers, anything you can do with having to do with networking, infrastructure, hardware, memory, you name it, even mining equipment, graphics cards and all that stuff. So check it out, MemoryDealers.com. All right. So yeah, as I said, live viewers, send an SMS to 646-580-0099. You'll see it right there. Or feedback@onlyonetv.com. And so, all right, so the official client is going to have this, what do you call it, split key? Is that what it's called? By February?
Yeah, split key is the general term.
Okay. Now, the split key, is that, to make sure I understand, is that the actual private key that's split, or is it the password to access the wallet that's split?
It's the actual key.
The actual keys are actually split. So it's almost like taking your wallet file and slicing it right down the middle, like those old, what are those, like hearts or something like that. So half a coin. So I get half of the private keys, and the other half are actually stored on the server?
Exactly.
And then nobody can access it at all without both?
Yes.
All right.
Exactly, yeah.
So how do I, if I lose my laptop, like in the analogy where I accidentally drop my laptop over the bridge and it's in a lake, how does the other half of the private keys get restored?
Right. So we always think of loss and sort of theft as two different scenarios, and the split key idea is something that protects very, very efficiently against theft. So you would have to have some sort of backup solution independent of the split key solution. What the split key solution is designed to do is to make your Bitcoins very accessible, so you can use them whenever you want and very easily and without a lot of hassle. But at the same time, a hacker can't just take control of one of your devices and then spend all your coins. So it's designed to give you usability and protection against theft. And then backups is a completely separate issue, where you can use paper backups or USB backups, whatever you want. You can back up both halves of the key in the same place, or you can back them up in different places, if you're really paranoid. And you can make as many copies as you want, and you can back them up any way you want. So it has nothing to do with backups. All the backups methodologies are still available, and there's still better ones being developed. But what this does is it really makes it easy, and you don't have to have any hardware in order to have secure verification for your transactions, and you don't get your Bitcoin stolen.
I just wanted to know that we're also developing backup solutions for Bitcoins, be it split key or just your private keys in other form. So that will be a service that comes from SafeBit as well at some point.
So once this is all implemented and the split keys and all that, and then you have half on the server, half on your machine, you still have to do backups because you have to have both or you lose the access to it.
Right.
Are you going to recommend, what would you recommend for the average user? Are they going to be backing up, for example, if they back it up to paper, are they backing up only their half of the private keys, or would they back up both?
So, I mean, everybody right now has a different vision. So if you ask Eli, he'll probably tell you something slightly different. But the way I picture it is the client-side keys, you just print them out, and the server-side keys you get in the mail. And then you have two pieces of paper, and you just store them any way you like. And to me, that's the simplest solution. It's very low tech.
Safe,
it's just a piece of paper, right? And you can put it in your safe, or you can, store one with your grandma and one with your brother or whatever. And so, neither of them can spend your points necessarily. So it's really neat. The split key really helps you even with the backing up. And you can make as many copies of them as you want. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. So it's kind of a nice way to have a little bit more security. So any place that you would consider secure for a backup right now, you can use the same thing for these split keys as well, except you have the additional benefit of, let's say you don't trust your safety deposit box entirely, so you just put one half of the keys in there, and you put the other half in your safe at home or with friends or whatever.
Okay, and you might have to have, if you don't trust, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. If you don't trust your safety deposit box, there's different kinds of trust, because like you might only store half of them there, but you also need to have that same thing backed up somewhere else. So it's not only that someone might get access to them, but you might lose access to them. They're two different scenarios of everything, right? If you don't want to lose your only access, even if it is to half, because you still need both halves to make the whole. Okay, now on a day-to-day basis, when you're using this, to send and receive transactions, do you, let's say in the future when you have the split key thing, right? Obviously, those keys have to come together to make a transaction. So is the other half of the private key from the server coming down to your local client, or is my half going up to the server? Where do they get married before the transaction happens?
So it really depends on which model you use. So there's different approaches to the split key algorithm. The way it's going to be implemented in the original client is you have two separate keys, and it really doesn't matter who signs first. It's like, a check, it requires two signatures. It doesn't really matter who signs it first. It's just, at the end of the day, there has to be both signatures on there. So clients probably would sign on the client side first, then submit it to the server, and then the server would do the final signature and then publish it.
The only reason it might make a difference is for security. If the machine was vulnerable, anytime if the machine had a virus, for example, and anytime the entire key was assembled together on that machine, that would be a vulnerable time when it could be captured, right?
Exactly. That's what we want to avoid. We want to never have the full key on any computer, be it the client or the server or your mobile device or any device at all. The whole security comes from the fact that you can separately sign in different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sign separately, but then, in order to actually spend it or make a transaction, they have to come together, even if it's just for a moment of that transaction.
No, not at all. So imagine the situation. So let me give you a metaphor, right? So you have this check, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to spend a lot of money from your business account, right? So it requires two signatures. Mm-hmm. So what you'll do is you'll put the first signature on it. You'll fill out all the check details, the recipient and the amount and everything. The check is fully filled out. The only thing that's missing is the second signature, right? Right. So you've already signed yours, and you then hand it over to your partner, and he'll look it over. He'll see, is the recipient right? Yes. Is the amount right? Yes. And then he'll just put down the final signature as well. And now the check has both signatures, and now it's valid. And that's exactly how it works with Bitcoin. So the transaction needs both signatures to be valid. So you'll check the transaction, you'll put in your client signature, you'll submit it to the server, and the server will use some method, like an SMS, for example, SMS verification, or they might call you, or they might send you a fax, or who the hell knows. It really is up to the server. But when they've verified that you indeed want to make this transaction, then they'll put down the second signature as well, and then they'll publish it.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm splitting hairs, but tell me if I'm wrong. or off base or what. But the okay, so you got the client and the server being two separate partners in a checking account that requires two signatures, right? And then the blockchain is the actual ledger, the actual banking system, we'll say. So
Right.
if the client has to sign it and then sends it to the server, for that moment, the server then has both signatures. Like your partner, now he has your signature, he sees your signature, and then he has his own.
Right.
But what you're
his
saying is they
signature-
actually sign them separately and they submit them to the blockchain separately?
Right. No. But remember, the signature, especially a cryptographic signature, is only valid for what it's signing. So yes, the server sees your signature, but it's only valid for this particular check, which you've already, signed, and you already said that you want to make this transaction happen. So the server, yes, they see your signature, but that doesn't mean that they can just copy and paste it over to a different transaction.
Okay, so now I think we're getting to the core of it that I'm finally going to understand. So what you're saying is that this split key transaction stuff that's going to be coming out in by February, that's a fundamental change to the Bitcoin network, the way transactions are processed on the Bitcoin network? Yes?
Right. I mean, depending on how you look at it, right? Ellie, maybe you want to explain.
I see one head nodding yes and one head nodding no.
Gavin's approach is, like Stefan said, is basically changing the Bitcoin net protocol, basically adding a new feature to it. Stefan's approach is a bit more conservative, and it's basically creating something that is outside of the Bitcoin network and just communicating between the two clients and creating the private keys, the first signature and the other signature separately, without ever involving the Bitcoin protocol, only just generating the two different signatures separately. So I'm going towards Stefan's idea because I prefer not to change the Bitcoin protocol, but who knows? We'll see how it goes, and from there.
So is this ability already built into the Bitcoin protocol? Is that what you're saying?
No. So there's two approaches, okay? So one involves changing the Bitcoin network and one doesn't. And Gavin right now is working on the one where you have to add some new features to the Bitcoin network to make it work well. And I have developed one that's sort of outside of the network, and it just uses some fancy cryptography in order to make it work. And so both aren't finished yet. The one that's going to be in the network is hopefully coming out in February. Mine is hopefully coming out somewhere around that time as well. And then, it really depends on which one's going to be better. I'm not particularly invested in either one, to be honest. I'm just trying to make mine the best that I can make it, and then really what the experts decide will be the one that everyone uses, I think.
And it really doesn't matter. They both do the similar thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just want the feature, right? We don't care who provides it. It's all open source anyway. I don't make any money if you use my algorithm. It's just, as long as I have the feature, it's also my Bitcoins on the line. So
yeah. Are there any other side benefits? Like, for example, of comparing your method versus the official client's method or whatever. Are there any advantages? Like, for example, could I do a 3-party transaction? Could I do a 5 or 3 out of 5 have to sign it? Things like that. Does one method have an advantage over the other in additional possible features?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk the whole evening, but basically, my method I think is a little more difficult to get right and to finalize and to test and all that. And it's more difficult. It's just more difficult to implement. Whereas Gavin's method has a disadvantage that it creates a lot more data to be stored in the blockchain. So with my method, for one transaction you have one public key and one signature to be stored. Whereas with the original client's method that they're working on is they have to store every single signature. So if you have a check with 5 signatures, they have to store 5 signatures. So I would say that in the very long run, so when we really have a lot of cryptographers interested in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is maybe getting a little bit more mainstream, I think that my method will be more efficient. But in the short term, it's probably simpler to use the Bitcoin client scripting language and the stuff that Gavin's working on.
Okay. So in any case, one way or the other, it's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of the experts deciding which is a better strategy.
these are the technical details, right?
Yeah,
So this is the guy behind the curtain. You don't have to worry about this. We'll figure
Don't worry
something
about
out.
that. Yeah, that's what Bank of America and Citibank said. Don't worry about that. Wall Street, don't worry about that. Those are just derivatives. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
That's the difference with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, if you want to know what's going on, you can at least find out.
Yes, that's right. You can go as deep as you want down that rabbit hole. Okay, well, this is really cool. So, and is that, do you see that, all of that, is it what you're talking about is going to be included in this next version that you're talking about, first quarter or whatever of 2012?
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
We won't commit at this point, but most probably yes.
Most probably yes. Okay, cool. Now, do you have any other people helping you on this project, or is it just the two of you?
Yeah, we're currently, we're just started with getting the first initial investment, and we're started recruiting more developers, and we have a few advisors on various topics. So yeah, SafeBit is growing rapidly, I could say.
Okay, so you're recruiting anybody, volunteers, or are you actually hiring people? Hiring. Okay, so that leads to my next question. So you're viewing this as a business, as a business. So you're looking for investors. You're hiring. What's the business model? How are you going to? If this is free open source software, what's the business model?
Most likely, we'll be using additional services like the backup, like more extreme security, some kind of a DNS system that we're looking at right now, and more features into SafeBit one way or another.
You have to charge, eventually you have to charge somebody for something, because it's not free to send SMS messages. It's not, I mean, not everything is free. So, it's services, it's add-on services like that you'll be able to sell. And also partnerships, like partnerships with an exchange site. If there's a preferred exchange site that's built into the app, then maybe there'll be some kind of a partnership arrangement where you get revenue from that too.
Yeah, well, Bitcoin Exchange is one of the revenue-generating products that I think will be inside SafeBit as soon as we release a more stable version. But that's just one of them.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like there's many different opportunities. What about point of sale? Is there anything specific about this that, I mean, obviously just receiving Bitcoin payments on any kind of device across the board seems like that would be an ideal way for a small business at least to get set up accepting Bitcoin point of sale instantly, right?
Yeah, from Bitcoin Jazz's side, we've already worked pretty closely with BitPay. So I could definitely see myself creating a contact between Eli and Tony and Stefan.
And you're talking about bit-pay.com. I always, it's called BitPay, but you have to put, if you're going to check it out, it's bit-pay.com.
Approval right there.
What?
It definitely has my stamp of approval for what it's worth.
Right. Yeah. So that really works well. Okay, cool. And also, if you end up partnering with one of the exchanges, like if you end up partnering with Mt. Gox, for example, they have point of sale stuff like vouchers and all kinds of, they're actually developing point of sale hardware, all sorts of things. So it's all going to integrate one way or the other. Like you said, right. It really doesn't matter, well, I mean, it matters, but we know for sure that it's going to happen. It's just the best one is going to get flushed out and rise to the top, whatever the best solution, the easiest, best way to do it. And that all these options, that there are so many that everybody's working on, is just makes it obvious that there's going to be some real major improvements in the ease of use and security and all these things. It's really exciting.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. So first quarter, that's the all we can narrow. We can nail you down to, huh? Does it depend on how many investors you get contacting you?
Not really. Not at this point. We're currently already closing the first round and talking with more investors on the second round. We're still open for offers, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
And it's not going to be related.
Is the company called BitSafe? Is that the name of the company?
The company is not incorporated yet, but most likely, yes, it will be called SafeBit.
Okay, SafeBit. I said it wrong. SafeBit.
Yeah, I'm continuously amazed at your ability to say brand names wrong, but I guess it's just so many, huh?
There's so many. I just can't believe it. I keep saying BitSafe, but it's SafeBit.
Yeah.
You can remember it's Italian. It's Italian with the .it, right? SafeB.it. SafeBit. I know there's so many, and they all have a bit in there somewhere. But
Yeah, I just came back from the Prague conference, and I still, my head is floating with all the different names and brands and people that I've met. It's pretty crazy.
yeah, how was that? I heard Max Kaiser was one of the speakers.
Yes, he did. He did both a talk and also he led a panel where they were talking about the future of money. There were a couple interesting talks. What I thought was interesting was that there were a few talks that were critical of Bitcoin. So there were both speakers from a technical point of view for Bitcoin. Then there was Rick Falkvinge and Max Kaiser, who were sort of evangelizing for Bitcoin from a more non-technical perspective. Then there was David Birch, who was sort of from a payments perspective. So he'd worked with MasterCard, and he's working with Transport for London, who've got these little Oyster cards. They're very convenient. And so they all brought very different viewpoints sort of to the table. And the basic narrative that came out at the end was that Bitcoin is actually, everybody agrees that the base technology is really good. And now everyone's looking to client developers to make better clients because it needs to be really usable. Right now, my grandma can't use it. She just can't. And until we get to that point where she can use it and safely without it, getting stolen or whatnot, that's going to be a very, very hard and long road, and it's probably going to take years. But we have to start now, and we have to do it quickly because the need for Bitcoin is definitely there.
Exactly. And yesterday we had Ben Wallace, who wrote the article for Wired Magazine, which is out on the newsstands right now, December issue of Wired Magazine, which you can also get online. And I was just rereading the article for the second time, and I was reading about you, Stefan, and I was actually this morning on the way in, I was reading it again. And I saw talking about you, and I was like, this is exactly what happened when you had, we've all been, I think pretty much everybody's been hurt one way or the other. We've stumbled and tripped, and and lost Bitcoins in the process. One of the guys talked about he was an early adopter, and he got into Bitcoin when it was less than half a cent or something like that. And I said, please tell me that you bought a lot of Bitcoin, right? And he goes, yeah, I did. He goes, I bought like $200 worth. And I'm like, okay, please tell me you still have them. And he says, no, he was so excited when they doubled in value and it was worth a whole cent that he sold them, So there's that. And then there's super technical people like you, Stefan, who have, just one little slip up and boom, wiped them out. And people like me that are just idiots and trust the wrong banker, e-wallet, and then they disappear and take all your money. So anyway, all of these things, I believe there's a reason for that happening. I think that it's made me really devout about security and know your banker or don't have a banker at all, and basically trust cryptography and free open source software more than any people, including yourself. And for you, Stefan, this must have really kind of emboldened you to kind of evangelize and say, okay, I'm going to fix this problem so that what happened to me doesn't happen to other people.
Yeah, and your viewers probably remember me from when I was on your show before, and I was pretty excited about WebCoin. And one of the reasons that even though WebCoin was very close to being finished, I eventually stopped the development was because they couldn't solve the fundamental security issue with it, and that is that the client code itself is still served by the server. Right? So whenever you have something that runs in the browser, ultimately the code is still served by the server, and you're still in the same sort of dilemma that you are in with, PayPal or MyBitcoin, where the server just has full access to your money, and if they want to cut you off or they want to just go away or steal your money, they can do it. And it was only very recently that I actually figured out a way to get around it. It was what my talk in Prague was about, so hopefully you'll be able to see that as a video pretty soon. But there's different approaches, so I definitely am interested in finishing WebCoin, but I'm even more excited about SafeBit because it's just so much more usable, and I'm really hoping that we can make SafeBit a really, really good client.
Now, SafeBit is that brings up a point. So the code is not served by the server. You download it first. You download it into do you download it into your browser, or you download the code actually to your PC, or where does the code live for the client?
The code lives actually on your hard drive, but Google is doing a really good job of making sure that it's not compromised in any way. That's why we chose Google Chrome Web Store for the initial preview version, so that I don't have to be worried about compromised code and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not really a web app, even though I think of Chrome, like a Chrome store, as a web app store, but it's not a web app. It actually just downloads it's an app store that downloads the app to your local machine.
Exactly. It's web technologies, but it's deployed in different ways. So on a mobile phone, it could still be a native app. It's just in the inside there's web technologies running.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So the app is actually installed on your local machine. And I mean, it's independent of the platform. So it doesn't matter if I'm running Windows or Ubuntu Linux or Mac. It's as long as I have Chrome, it's a local app and it's going to run through Chrome.
Right.
Platform independent. That is really slick. Okay, cool. This is the future for sure. You guys are right on the cutting edge of it. So exciting. Well, but you got to hurry though. I want it before the end of February.
But it's gotta be done, right? It's
Hurry.
like we're playing with financial software, so it's gotta be 100% rock solid, and you can't release it a day too soon.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, cool. So is there anything else you want to tell people about SafeBit, Bitcoin in general?
I would love if people followed us on Twitter, on Bitcoin Jazz. There's a lot of technical tweets, but I try to mix in a little bit of news. If anybody news using Bitcoin Jazz, or if they're developing clients and so on, if there's anything cool coming out that has anything to do with what I'm doing, you can find it on my Twitter, Bitcoin Jazz.
What is your Twitter again?
Just Bitcoin JS.
Bitcoin JS. So it's on Twitter, obviously. It's twitter.com/Bitcoin J like John, S like Sam, right? Bitcoin
Exactly.
JS. Right? Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And Eli, how about you? Do you have a Twitter? Do you tweet?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. It's Eli Sklar, ELISKLAR. You're welcome to follow me. It's not just Bitcoin related there, so.
Okay. So it's at ELISKLAR, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, we'll be following you guys. We have to do this again. You got to let me know as soon as you got something to announce, and we'll have you back, and you can tell the world about it.
Happy.
We so appreciate you taking your time from Israel and Switzerland,
Likewise.
all over the place.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Bruce.
Yes, absolutely, my pleasure. All right, it's a mutual adoration society here. We all love each other. So, all right, thanks, guys. And thanks for joining us. All right. Take care. We'll see you next time on the Bitcoin Show.
Start there. So obviously with our server, you don't need to download the blockchain up front, right? So you can pretty much start the client and you can get going right away. Now, one thing that I want to make absolutely clear to your viewers is that we're just announcing the cooperation right now. So right now, the client that you can download and try out still relies on the original client. So we're now starting to move everything over so it actually integrates with my server, and then you will get all of these features over the next couple of months rolling out.
Yep.
Okay, so the software that they would download, you're saying it relies on the standard Bitcoin client right now?
Right.
For now, yeah.
So, I mean, is there so there isn't a server-side aspect to it yet? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
In the current version.
What you can do is you can download it, and if you're running the original client already, you can integrate it with the RPC API, and you can try it out, and you can see the interface, which looks really amazing, and Eli has done an amazing job, and that's
but now I'm starting to gather more developers around me and getting some investment in the project.
Okay. And Stefan, did you develop the server side of it?
Exactly. So I was working on Bitcoin Jazz for about the same amount of time, and we realized that Eli has a really amazing GUI, and I have a server, and so we started talking to each other a couple weeks ago, and now we're ready to make it official that I'm going to be consulting with Eli and helping them, integrate their client with our server.
Awesome. All right, cool. So it's like a marriage made in heaven when you guys discovered the two pieces. I mean, when you started, I mean, obviously, Stefan, you started the server side of it prior. Is that right?
I would say around the same time.
About the same
What
time?
do you think, Eli?
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Ellie, did you have Stefan's server side model in mind when you started?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
When you started your client, did you already have Stefan's server side in mind? I mean, was this developed synchronously, or did you not know where it was going to go?
No, actually, when I started with the official Bitcoin client, and then I met Stefan a couple of months later, and we started chatting and realized that would be a great partnership together.
Oh, okay. So then when you met Stefan and you decided to develop for his server, then did you have to kind of start over a bit, or at least some of the under the hood mechanics to make it compatible with Stefan's server side?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us what now the entire project on both sides is free open source software. Is that correct?
Yep.
It is. That's awesome. All right. And now, what are the key features and benefits of SafeBit as opposed to the standard Bitcoin client?
Well, let me
Today's episode of the Bitcoin Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and Thank You Economy Book and MemoryDealers.com. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Bitcoin Show. I'm Bruce Wagner, and today we have a really exciting day, actually. It's even more exciting. I know I say that every day, but it's even more exciting than normal because we have some of that new state-of-the-art, cutting-edge Bitcoin software to talk about that is now available. What I've been saying is going to be available, I said, within the next year, within the next 6 months, within the next 3 months. And now the first generation of it is really here today. So today we're going to talk about new software called SafeBit. And my guests are Stefan Thomas and Eli Sklar, developers and founders of SafeBit. Hey guys, how you doing?
how are you?
Hey.
Good, good. So Stefan's joining us from Switzerland. And Eli, where are you?
I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel.
From Tel Aviv. Okay, that's right, Israel. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So we're very global, as always. And so tell us, okay, let's start from the beginning. For those of you in the audience and me who don't know what's going on, SafeBit is a free open source software project, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And who did the development, most of the development, or did you share that equally, or what?
I started developing it almost 6 months ago.